Hello and welcome to the fourth episode of This Is Who I Am Now. I'm so excited. I love it. Each week I have just guests on that I am just so delighted to introduce. And yes, I've been wanting to get Lou on for a while because what she does is really quite interesting. So before I bring her on, I just wanted, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Jane Jackson. I am creator of the Heart of Healing community and also author of Monsters Under My Bed, and currently working on the sequel to that, which is called Awakening the Monsters Under the Bed. But I'll share a little bit more about me towards the end. Let's bring on my first guest today, who is Lou Johnson, and she is an animal healer as well as being one of the first Believe accredited practitioners. So Lou, welcome. And I'm really excited to hear about your journey with the animal healing. So feel free to share from wherever feels good for you.
Okay, thank you. Nice to see you both. Basically, well, I've always known, even from being a little, that I wanted to help animals. That was just within me. I knew that. Didn't know how to go about it. Didn't want to be a vet or anything like that. Life went on, and then I first got into animal healing over 20 years ago when one of my cats was really ill. Sort it out because I just wanted to do anything I could to help her. And so that was my introduction to it. Because obviously there wasn't the internet then, so I couldn't research it. Well, it was just coming in, so couldn't research it in quite the same way. And then one thing and another in life, I stepped away from it. And then a few years ago, Doris, one of my little dogs, she was really getting anxious and I felt she needed healing. So I contacted a lady called Elizabeth Whiter, took her to see her, and basically Doris told her it was me that needed the healing. So that started my journey for my own healing. But when I was with Elizabeth at the Healing Animals organisation, I knew that I wanted to do what she did as well, and did a year's course with her to qualify as an animal healer, whilst what I thought was my awakening as well. So I did that, obviously, and in that course I actually covered human healing as well, but predominantly focused on animals and everything that surrounds healing for them, their environment, their guardians. I do work with guardians as well. So, because often it's the pet's guardian that is causing the pet anxiety without even realizing, or they can do so much good in helping themselves to help their pet.
Yeah.
It depends on what the animal is telling me that is the issue. So I qualified there and just carried on working in that way. But I knew there was more. And then I met Olivia Akanya through Sarah Morgan, and did a course with her and a couple of other lovely ladies, and then was one of the first people to do the Believe workshops in Soto Grande. I was fortunate enough to be there, and then I started my real awakening, as I call it, and obviously, as you know, became a Believe practitioner because it is the most full way to become free. That Believe releasing process is just amazing.
So how would you say, because that was the first Believe course in Soto Grande, that was over a year ago now, wasn't that?
Yes,
And
it's
how,
March 2009.
yeah, so how would you say things have changed in relation to how you work with animals since then?
Quite a lot, actually, because I've expanded the abilities that I have. I've got new abilities, and obviously what I did before, like the communication and what I get given from my team, that might be the issue for an animal. It's just so much broader and deeper and so much more understanding. I've helped quite a few people find their cats and dogs over recent months by tuning into their pet that's gone missing and getting a visual of where they are. When I connect with an animal, I can scan and see if and where they might need healing and give the healing there. I get information and receive on what is the problem, whether it might be physical or emotional, and what to do for them regarding that. I have new abilities that I'm just developing at the moment as well, that makes that even bigger. So yeah, moved on massively since that with the human and animal work, particularly the animal work. So yeah, it's expanded me phenomenally, and I can't wait for more.
So when someone comes to you because they've got a problem with their animal, and you become aware that actually the problem isn't with the animal but more with with their guardian, how do you manage that, and what can you do to support them?
Firstly, congratulate them for noticing something's not right and bringing them to me. And obviously it depends on what it is. It's something you often have to tread carefully with, because somebody that loves their animal so much can't bear to think that they've actually caused them any degree of trauma at all. But we can get by that because they're now doing something, and it may be that it depends how open they are, but it may be that they just need to create truths themselves, or acknowledge when they are putting out fear because their pets are picking up on that.
Just little one in the background.
Sorry. Just getting in on the act. So yeah, it's completely bespoke to their individual, what's going on in their lives and what they need help with, to be honest. I would get complete guidance on that, and to be able to help them, and also communicate with their pet that that's what's happening. Because and also often the owners can do that themselves, and I can help them with that, so they have that connection, so that they can communicate with their pet and let them know what's going on, or let them know that they're safe, or that there isn't actually a problem there, or that whatever the issue may be, but so they can just live together better, really. But yeah, it completely depends on the situation.
Wow. So what sort of things have you been able to assist the animals with? What sort of issues?
It can often be things, if it's an emotional thing, issue, for example, that you might get a reactive dog that's very protective when they're out walking with their owner, but then the owner's perceived it that their dog's aggressive or scared themselves, when actually they feel that their owner is scared, and they feel it's their job to step in and protect. So there's lots of things that can be done around that, to let them know that they don't need to do that, and also for the owner to do there. So they can create truths, for example, about not being fearful in that situation, that they are they are safe on their walk, and they give that energy out, which obviously in that vibration, which then their dog, for example, will pick up on. And everything along that sort of line, even things with food. I can pick up whether there's something, that, say a pet might have got a skin rash, or some sort of tummy issue, and I can tune in and see what food it is that might be causing that, or something else, of course, but I can give advice on if they need something removing from their diet, and see if that helps, which invariably it does.
I'm just curious, because so with the belief releasing process, as humans, we identify an emotion that is particularly challenging for us, and then with our higher self, we we locate where the root of this emotion came from, and then we sort of and then we just tune in to get greater understanding and create new truths and relabel it to love. That's, sorry for those of you who are watching thinking, what the hell are they talking about? That's a really quick summary of what the believe releasing process is like. How does that work for animals?
Essentially, the best way I can explain that is if I get an animal that has some sort of issue, and tune in, often what I'll get shown is the trauma, that if you like, and when I say trauma, it doesn't have to be a what we might think a huge event, or it could be something that's happened that makes that animal feel anxious, that's been repeated, that becomes a trauma for them.
Yeah.
And actually, one of my new abilities that I'm expanding on is being able to remove that trauma and take the animal back to, well, their cells back to their original mold before that happened. So it's like a letting go.
Yeah.
Really. And also I can, there's other forms of healing I can do with them to enable them to let go of that. So I can't sit with them and get them to repeat truths to me, but I can get them to let go and see it differently.
Yeah.
It's about perspective with animals.
Yeah. Because one of the things that I used to do as an emotional freedom technique practitioner was I would work on the cats, because there are certain points along the spine, and I would sort of massage rather than tapping, just massage. But it worked in the way of surrogate healing. So I would state the truths, as it were. I would connect to their energy, state the truths on their behalf. Is that something similar?
Yes, that can sort of help as well, definitely, because it's creating that new perspective as well for them, so that they can feel differently about it, like we feel differently when we create truths. It's essentially the same sort of thing.
Brilliant. That's so exciting. And just, I think, personally, I'm delighted that there are different ways of assisting our loved ones who are furry, because I know that it I find it challenging taking my cats to the vets, because they always want to insist on intrusive, invasive procedures, which really stresses the cats out. And not apart from the fact that it's very costly, but it's always drug focused as well. So having alternative ways in which we can heal our pets as well is just, something that I think is, feels really good. It really does.
If it's something particularly emotional, the last thing I want to do is cover that with drugs.
Well, absolutely. Yeah.
We want to get to the root of it, like we do with us. And it can, even if an animal needs an operation or something, healing can so help that. It can help get the anaesthetic out of the system quicker, a huge toxin, and obviously promote recovery and stop things coming back sometimes. Well, anything's possible.
Yes, I know that my littlest cat was neutered earlier this year, and whilst I was in the waiting area waiting to pick her up, someone came in with this dog, and the dog came straight to me, and I could see, the dog was just quivering, shaking with absolute fear. So I was just stroking it, but sending the dog some healing as well, and he calmed right down. And the owner sort of looked at me and said, "Wow, what have you done?" and I was chatting to him, and I said, she really doesn't like coming to the vets, does she? And he said no, and she has to come each month for medication, because gosh, what was it? I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was something relating to, an ongoing condition that she needed drugs for each month. And I just thought, she doesn't need it. she doesn't need it. This is an animal that has created a physical condition because of the stress that she's feeling, and it was quite heartbreaking.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
really was. Yeah.
And when you know there's
So
an alternative as well.
yes. So wonderful work that you're doing, Lou. If anyone wants to get in touch with you, so yeah, actually, first of all, if someone wants you to work with their animal, do you need to do that one-to-one in person, or can you do it remotely?
Can do it remotely. Yeah,
You can.
absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I can do.
So if anyone wants to get hold of you, what's the best way?
They can contact me on Facebook or by email, and the email is lou@pauseinthelight.com, and the Facebook page is Pause in the Light.
Oh, I love that. Pause as in PAW.
WS, yeah.
Brilliant, thank you.
But
And we'll
wings and who's not excluded.
okay, wings and hooves. Okay, and I just went to unicorns then,
Ah,
but
and
actually
why
it's
not?
not unicorns. It's Pegasus, isn't it? That had the
Yeah,
hooves and the wings.
yeah.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Lou.
you,
And
Jane.
great. So, now we're moving more to working with humans again, and it's my absolute pleasure to welcome Katie Farrell, who is a transformation coach. Now, Katie, you've been on this journey of awakening with us, and
Yes,
we were in the same group that started last September, wasn't it?
it was the first online Believe group.
Yeah. So not even a year has passed.
Really? I thought it was a century.
So what changes have you noticed in yourself and also in the work that you do?
Yeah, wow. There's a question.
Mm,
It's, as you say, it in some ways it feels like it was yesterday that we started, and in others it feels like it could have been literally, years and years,
mm,
because of the huge amount of change that's gone on.
yeah,
When I started Believe, as you say, I work as a transformation coach, so I work primarily with women, and but I use a lot of what I would call before now intuition. I
yeah,
very much connect in with people quite easily, feel into their emotions and what was going on with them, and probably put a lot of that down to the training that I had, going back 20 years now, in Reiki. And so I'm a Reiki master,
mm,
used to work with clients one-to-one, largely in person, but I did do distant healing as well. And I suppose that kind of come full circle, really, with having quite a, in coaching or working very much with people in their careers and their work life, and making changes at that more sort of physical and sort of logistical level, I
yeah,
suppose. And through some health challenges of my own, I'm your typical sort of striver, high achiever, perfectionist, and everything that comes with that, putting a lot of strain on yourselves mentally, physically. And I ended up with chronic fatigue syndrome, related probably to having glandular fever when I was younger. And I tried various things, the traditional, seeing the doctors, and got nowhere fast. And then just thought, well, I've done healing. Why do I not do that for myself? Or, at first, when I was really, really poorly, I had healing with other people. And it just felt like coming home to get back into that healing space again. So I'd met Olivia Okanya through an online networking, an international networking platform called Project Positive Change. And so I saw some of her online work. And then when Believe came up, I just thought that's just for me. When something just really resonates on every level, I thought I have to be there. And I was so glad it was online, because I'm a single parent, so I can't just go flying off for weeks on end. So what has changed since is just that more of the understanding, releasing things that were subconsciously there, but also on an emotional and physical level, you know, things that were trapped that you just don't know are there. And that's coming from, I'm also a hypnotherapist. So a lot of my work has been with the subconscious. But as with anything, you know, the cobbler's children don't have the best shoes. So even though you do a lot of work on yourself, you can't see your own stuff, can you? So actually going through the belief process and linking to our higher selves and all the phenomenal work that goes on there with that really close relationship that you have and getting to understand yourself and how your relationship together works, working with other guides. So that's brought us, you know, to where we are now, as I say, less than a year on. So it's brought me back to the healing. And one of the capabilities, you know, like Lou mentioned there, having more and more energetic capabilities enabled and unlocked, is to work with people and help them to clear trauma, trapped emotions that are causing either, you know, physical distress or emotional distress, whatever it might be. This healing capability I have is, it kind of, I visualize it as a kind of tornado, which is how it was first given to me and described to me, that goes in down through the inner being, or the soul, as some people understand it as, and kind of clear out all the debris, and then we go into more of a sort of targeted healing. So if I'm drawn to certain areas that have more direct or sort of problematic area that we need to work on to release those, and we go there as well. So it's been a big development, a bit of a change, but also, as I say, it felt more like a coming home, to be honest.
And I know that personally from my experience, the physical and the emotional aren't two separate things. There's always a link and a connection. And I know, as a practitioner myself, you know, years ago, I would have people coming to me for these physical problems, and they would say, but I don't have any trauma in my past, so I don't believe that there's, you know, a root cause. And it's like, okay, fine, you know, let's just do the work and see what happens. And always there was some inherent trauma. And it's a bit like with the animals. It doesn't have to be the trauma that's the big life-changing trauma. Because it's, who is it? Was it someone who's in Believe, right? Emotions don't care about experiences. Is that it?
Yeah.
That's the one. Emotions don't care about experience. So something that happened to us as children, and it's always how we perceive something as a child. So as a child, we can view something and perceive it to be incredibly traumatic, and when we look back at it as an adult, we're like, well, that's not traumatic. And that's where I think doing this work with the higher self is so key, because it takes you to those things that logically you've just dismissed. Or, and I think, if at all you even remember them.
The sort of locked or hidden memories, absolutely. And they're things that, you know, I have worked on obviously with hypnotherapy, but seeing, I think, as you say, with the word trauma, I think that's what puts almost that fear in people, thinking, well, I don't think I've had anything really traumatic, and if I have, I almost don't want to know about it. But it's, as you say, it's not necessarily anything major. It's just how your body has responded to it at that time. And I see the physical issues that we have as the kind of expression of what's gone on emotionally to us. So it's almost like, and I think doing this kind of work helps us to connect in with our bodies and our minds and souls, and actually recognize things when we're feeling a bit disconnected or something doesn't sit right with us. We can catch it in the moment, or at least before it gets into a physical manifestation, because that's I see that as really as the body going, come on, you've got to do something now. And because because if a painful shoulder or a leg that you can't walk on is going to be the way that you sit up and listen and do something about it.
and quite often as well, it's like the physical manifestation doesn't happen. It's not like, oh, you know, you've triggered some traumatic memory and then the physical manifestation happens. What happens is it's like a build up over time. And so when you get to the point of needing to address the physical manifestation, people quite often say, well, I want to be healed like that now. Well, there's a lot of years of kind of low vibration that we've got to clear first. So
yeah, but at the same time, it also can be quite quick, can't it?
of course it can. It
It's not like a
can.
therapy where you have to sit and, you know, see a counsellor every week
No,
for 10 years, like in the olden days.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Some's really quick, some isn't, and I know my own personal experience with the chronic fatigue. It shifted overnight. It
wow,
literally shifted overnight when I unlocked the trauma. Um, but you know, for some people that might take a year or 18 months. It's, you know,
yeah.
everyone's different. One of the things that I'm intrigued to understand a little bit more is, how does hypnotherapy compare to when we're talking about locked memories?
Yeah, it's fun enough. It's one I not struggled with, but had to really think a lot about, because for me, one of the key things that stuck with me when I was studying and qualifying as a hypnotherapist was a story that we'd been told about how, because the subconscious is also where we store our memories, but it's also where it's the most creative part of the mind.
Mm.
And so there had been a case in Scotland, I believe, a number of years ago, whereby a lady had been to see a hypnotherapist and had unlocked a memory that then led to a court case taking her father to court.
Mm-hmm.
And it came up that, I mean, the result was, you know, I obviously don't know the people and I don't know the details of the case itself, but that what he'd been accused of, he had evidence that he didn't do.
Right.
So that had actually kind of caused a bit of a fear in me of thinking, oh, you know, I don't want to bring up something that actually hasn't happened, and how would I know, and how would they know? But actually over time, and in particular with this locked memories, I think having that such a strong connection with your higher self and having the understanding that you're never taken to anything that you can't deal with for a
Yeah.
start. You know, that's one understanding we have, isn't it, about
Yeah.
that? It's very much when you're ready, a bit like
Yeah.
when you're ready to learn, the teacher will appear.
Yeah.
And so, and I think when you're doing it yourself, you have that intrinsic sort of knowing that it's to do with you,
Yes.
rather than something that you've created, or
Yes.
and it's almost like there's a breadcrumb trail to it.
Yes. Yes.
So I think it's just to me, it's just a different way into that subconscious.
Yeah.
You know, hypnotherapy is one medium that we can use, and you know, since the training, I have worked with people and unlocked memories, and I think, like with anything, and the more you do it, and you get the experience, you think, actually, this is absolutely fine. I've not had any, you know, any cases that have caused me concern at all, and have actually just blown my mind in terms of that almost instant healing that comes from unlocking something and understanding what's been causing you grief for so long. So so I see it as a different way in, but I think when the difference I see is having that intrinsic internal knowing.
Yes, definitely. And you know, and I'm just thinking about, you know, my experience, because I've had experience of the two now. Many years ago, when I was having counselling and therapy, one of my therapists she was a trained hypnotherapist, and I said to her, I know that there's something from my childhood and I've got no kind of visual for it. I just know that there's something, and I feel that I can't move on until I know what it is. And bless her, she really tried to persuade me not to. Because she said, once you know it, you can't unknow it. And I said, no, I have to know. Now, she took me through the process and did indeed unlock one of my memories. And, you know, when I came round, I was like, oh, fuck, I really wish I hadn't known that. Because I didn't have the tools at hand to know how to process it, how to release it. So it's like, I know that this happened now. Now what do I do with it? Now, my more recent experience of tuning to my higher self and my higher self unlocking memories, it's like they unlock, you know, yeah, they're horrible. They're the stuff that I'd really wish I didn't know about, but I know what to do now. And rather than, you know, the horror staying with me for days, weeks, months, or even years, it's like, it's a matter of moments. Okay, this happened now. I allow my higher self to take me through that process of understanding and coming to the point of love again for myself, and releasing it. And that is so much, that is a gift that I think is so precious that we can give the people that we're working with. It's not like, you know, we're unlocking stuff and then off you go.
No, go and deal with it.
you go and deal with it. It's teaching them a process whereby, you know, nothing gets unlocked unless you're ready. Unless you're ready to be able to work with it and release it for yourself.
Absolutely. And I think that's why I think I've been drawn to the sort of therapies, if you like, that I have been, because I very much believe in empowering people to heal themselves rather than, or, you know, to do whatever it is for themselves, rather than rescue people and do things for them, because it might help in that moment, but long term it doesn't, does it? And like with the hypnotherapy, I combined mine with CBT. So we had the tools that supported the kind of subconscious unlocking, if you like. And the same way with this, I think it's done everything I was hoping it would, and so much more, going through the belief process, the awakening, and, as you say, having the support anyway with Olivia and Raf, but knowing you've always had and always will have that support of your higher self. And that's just such an amazing feeling, isn't it? And
it is,
knowing.
Well, it is, because it's like you kind of never you never have to feel like you're on your own with stuff anymore.
No.
It's like, no excuses actually.
No, absolutely. And I must say, it did take me a little while to get used to going to the toilet or having a shower and not having to say, you know, you can look away.
Katie, it never even occurred to me.
Sorry, that's an image you're never going to release now.
Thank you. So, Katie, what's the best way for people to get in touch with you if they want to find out more about working with you?
Yeah, thank you. So I'm my website is thecatalyst4life.com. And I'm also Catalyst Katie Farrell on Facebook, so they can contact me there. The healing is remote, as with Lou, so you know, it can be face to face obviously as well, but so location is no problem for either the healing or the coaching.
Wonderful, thank you. And I'll pop your links in the comments box, whether this is on YouTube or on Facebook. So thank you both for joining.
So
it's been a real pleasure to get to know you both a bit more, and I look forward to seeing more of your abilities unfolding.
Fantastic. Thanks, Jane.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye.